Well, hello everyone and welcome back to another video of the F1 2020 Driver Career Mode with Alfa Romeo, episode number 85 today for the British Grand Prix of Season 6, round number 6. If you have of course missed the previous videos, especially around Canada, Azerbaijan, uploaded last week, then I can go and check them out, and of course subscribe if you are new to the channel, see plenty more Driver Career Mode episodes. Yes, we're going to skip the pursuit because I couldn't be bothered. Also, the pursuit is glitched on this game, which is potentially why classic cars have been given the boot for F1 2021. Fortunately, just trying to wait really for the to get enough R&D points to be in a position to purchase some more upgrades. Really, so that's coming in. We can see that weight redistribution upgrade has come in. We finally have some R&D points to actually purchase some stuff, and now we've got that final one. We can now look at the two front and rear downforce upgrades. So the Sashi side is in the performance where we're actually making gains. Now it's time to look at the aero side. Two more to go. We'll try and get this rear one. I felt we would go to the front one because it would give it a little bit more performance that we want, as opposed to just a redesigned diffuser, which will still give us some performance, but on the whole I prefer the front end, and we have been suffering on the front end in some of the corners, I feel. But despite making huge gains, it's still not enough to lift us out as penultimate ranking on the list of performance. So hopefully a couple more rounds and of upgrading, we should be able to leapfrog the midfield as well. You can see there the actual little development update from Carl has actually been fixed for once, which wasn't. So you can see Williams, Renault there at the top end of the midfield, and then obviously Williams very close, McLaren, Racing Point, and then ourselves, and then Haas are about 15 light years behind, as they are in real life really. But yes, moving to qualifying then for the British Grand Prix, the race that I've had so much pain over the 6 seasons, which is why there's an odd number to the races, because we were tied at this Grand Prix. Interestingly though, Alex Albon and Esteban Ocon had a slight issue when coming out of the pits. Like, they just, I don't know, there's this gearing issue. It's been in the F1 game for years. The AI just gets stuck. It can't go up a certain gear for some reason. It's really weird how that does work. But anyway, on to our miserable lap. As you can see, business as usual down here in P18. Leclerc hanging down here just for the vibes as well. Down in P16, I'm sure he will move up. The Ferrari is the most dominant car in this series, a bit like 2004, but worse basically, because apart from myself, Ferrari won all the races. So yes, even De Vries has managed to improve. He's gone ahead, but we are improving. We've just gone ahead of Guan Yu Zhou in the Racing Point. Aston Martin, I should say, because that's what that car is. We haven't seen that livery. Took me for ages to do, and we've hardly seen that livery at all in the game, because the team, which started out in life as the 3rd fastest team on the grid potentially, has slumped to being the 8th fastest in this career mode. But anyway, back to our miserable lap. We're 4.5 tenths up, but we're slower than Stroll through the middle sector. The middle sector is where I lose all the time because of the course we have the front left tyre. Just wants to be on fire and wants to experience life on holiday inside an oven. Come through the final couple of corners here and across the line, and it's only P17. Miserable qualifying, as was expected. Back down to earth after my brilliant victory at Canada the last time out, and also a long way away from that 8th place that we got at Baku. Sainz 2nd place, splitting the Ferraris, but quite a long way behind. Verstappen having a dreadful season. Albon outside the top 10. The Renaults have improved. Williams not as much. that's definitely going to be something to watch. George up in 12th. Can he get points in this series? We have improved the Sashi. Let's see what we can do. It's time for the race for today's British Grand Prix, the final of the home Grand Prix on this series.
I see you've been skipping a lot of practice sessions lately. Keep in mind that practice is useful to get used to the track, improve your car setups, and also helps us gather data for car development. Make sure you don't jeopardize your results by taking these sessions too lightly.
We return once again then to the home of British motorsport and the birthplace of the Formula One World Championship. It's race day here at Silverstone and it's time for the British Grand Prix. With good opportunities to overtake at the end of the Wellington and Hangar Straights, there's a lot of potential for close action around the 3.6 miles of the Silverstone circuit. With 18 corners and average lap speeds of around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the longest and quickest circuits on the calendar. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. Now, can I talk to you about Sebastian Vettel? Looks like they've got a tough race in store today as grid penalties from changing power unit components has forced them further down the field.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position and talented Spaniard Carlos Sainz completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Gasly, Magnussen, Max Verstappen and Bottas, Norris, Ocon, Giovinazzi and Alexander Albon, Russell, Giotto, Sebastian Vettel and Kvyat, Latifi, Stroll and Alfa Romeo and Guan Yu Zhou, De Vries and Nobuharu Matsushita. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Okay, I know it's your home Grand Prix, but treat it like any other race. Don't take unnecessary risks.
We can't take unnecessary risks, Jeff, because we're shocking. Well, I'm shocking around this track on this year's game. Haven't done, apart from F1 E-Mod, haven't done better than P7, and that was lucky. Also, a quick mention to Carl. Looks like his restraining orders run out. So, fortunately, though, I know that he won't be able to mention the word "Have you not completed enough practice sessions on F1 2021?" because he's getting fired on that after this game, so we won't have to see him again. Hopefully the new person hasn't heard the word practice session to annoy us. But anyway, enough about that. 5 lights are out and away we go for the British Grand Prix, and it's a good start, better than I think that was Stroll there on the right hand side. We go round the outside of it, literally everybody. That's the start that I was looking for, ladies and gentlemen. Up into what I think that's P9 now as we go past Giovinazzi, one of the Renaults. We've been fighting the Renaults all season so far. Giovinazzi, of course, the man we replaced, is going side by side through Maggots and Beckett's and eventually decides to yield the position. Oh, the AI. This is where the AI get on to catch me up, as we're, of course, starting on mediums, I should say. To try and counteract the tyre temperatures, but jumping then on aboard with Giovinazzi into turn 1. This is another position where I'm weak, and Giovinazzi gets a little bit out of shape as we try and cut him off into turn 1. And now Giovinazzi's going again. We're going to squeeze him to the right hand side, make sure that he doesn't come around us, and I think that's going to allow. Is that going to allow Albon to go? No, Giovinazzi's going to cover Albon off, and we're going to retain P9. But you can already see that we're not catching Ocon, basically, as we now join the other favourite place for the AI to have a go at me. The other start-finish straight is that Albon is opportunistic, sees Giovinazzi get blocked off by myself. Giovinazzi is up into P10, although Albon's up into P10, but Giovinazzi's coming back at Albon. Albon is going to hit us on the rear. Well, he's no right to me making. I don't know what he was doing there. He just literally, look at this, he just literally pokes his nose in. He does not, his nose in does not need to be there, basically. And that allows Giovinazzi to have the inside line for the final corner, and Giovinazzi to get ahead of him, but Giovinazzi's gone round on the end of Magnus and Beckett's, and he just touched our rear right wheel, as we've got front wing damage now as well, from one of our ventures. So it's all happening here. Controversial with Giovinazzi. That's a little bit of a 50-50. I couldn't really give him. I was giving as much room as possible. Not really an overtaking spot through on that position. And now Albon's having to go through his turn one on the thing. Albon's round as well. The AI are being very aggressive today. First Giovinazzi, now Albon. This Giovinazzi poles side by side. Again, I can only take the racing line through there. That one's a little bit more iffy than the Giovinazzi one. Yeah. Let me know who's at fault in the comments below. But the FIA, the game rather, has not adjudicated any penalties for any of those incidents to either Giovinazzi, Albon, or myself. So the game's ruled it as a racing incident. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But anyway, we're in lap 7. At the end of lap 6 onto lap 7. To get rid of those medium tyres. Another 3.1 second stop. Again, the Alfa Romeo mechanics need to be faster. Hopefully they will be by the time we get to Brazil for that 100% race. As Max Verstappen is retiring with another engine failure. I think that's about 185 million that he's occurred through in this series. It's not surprising he's only won the World Championship once with the amount of failures that he has got. As unfortunately the undercut hasn't worked for us as expected. Giotto has managed to get past us, and at this point I'm thinking we're just going to carry on. But until Kvyat and Zhou come out of the pits, and Kvyat comes out behind myself. So Kvyat's going to have a go on the last lap here. This is going to be for 1 championship point. Vettel came out miles ahead, considering the fact that he did the overcut. Ferrari pace, no surprise. There's Giovinazzi's coming to join us. Well, we're going to have to defend the outside. Giovinazzi's going to be opportunistic and get ahead of Kvyat. He's going to dive it down the inside of me. We're not going to have any of that, and close off the Italian to claim the final point. A point for ourselves. And it's better than the Netherlands, but if the tyre temperatures weren't as high as they have been, I mean, it wasn't as bad. They were only like 105 compared to the 107 that they were at Zandvoort, but it's still pretty bad. You can see here, both Kvyat and Giovinazzi did make contact with the rear end of myself in that final sequence of corners. But Charles Leclerc has a big advantage because, of course, Vettel had that engine penalty. So pretty much, if Leclerc doesn't win the championship, then it'll be an upset. Gasly's putting one hand on being the runner-up for this season. Magnussen rounds out the podium, a rare podium for Magnussen. Sainz in the end couldn't get a podium, finishes only in P4. I'm sure Verstappen, I mean, both Red Bulls had a bad day at the office, really, and that they just struggled. And I mean, we've got another point. It's given us retained P5. We're very lofty heights after the previous 2 episodes, and now we've all been brought right back down to earth here at Silverstone. But that was to be expected. Silverstone's not a strong track. It's just such a shame that Russell can't make the same step forward that I do on my starts, really. I think that's been a trait of his AI, which is such a shame that his trait, the AI trait, doesn't change.
That was an exciting race from our perspective. Let's have yours. Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today?
Well, we went right round the outside of everyone, really, and to make the positions.
It was more like dodgems than Formula 1 today, wasn't it?
I'm going to be, yeah. The answer here, yeah, we'll just select that one.
Great. Well, that's
controversial answer there. Because, yeah, no, I do feel that those accidents could have been avoided with Albon. The aggression there, with Albon and Giovinazzi, both of them they needed to wait, basically, set themselves up for the straight afterwards with DRS. But again, we obviously had good straight line speed, so obviously frustrated. We'll be looking to put that rear downforce upgrade on the car in the next Grand Prix, the Belgium Grand Prix. We've got a little bit of a break between there, but we should be able to accrue the 300 points, R&D points we move. Leclerc is sailing out in front. Gasly's been very good, apart from at Monaco. He's been very consistent in his scoring positions. So, yes, for us, it's 9/10. It's about where the car probably is, to be honest. The engine, it's just a shame that Russell can't really gather that pace, but maybe after so many seasons of not scoring, he doesn't know how to be fast anymore. But anyway, enough about that. If you have enjoyed this video, then leave a like, subscribe to the channel when you see plenty more episodes of the F1 2020 Driver Career with Alfa Romeo as and when they come out. Until the next video, I'll see you next time. Take care, thanks so much for watching, enjoy your day, and goodbye.